Morning everyone. It is a Sunday morning. It's quite damp but it is dry and I'm gonna crack on with this 400. My plans as ever continue to change. Simon has, Simon the previous owner, has very kindly provided a complete front chop of a 420 which has a perfect undamaged, undistorted, unbent slam panel. He's also given me for free, or with the car, a pair of decent headlights with the hockey stick trims that aren't broken or damaged. So we've got two of those. One there as well. Indicator that I needed. He's also given me a 420 GSI front bumper. I haven't got that yet, I need to pick it up from him, but it's one that has fog lights in it. This car never had fog lights, but it's going to be quite cool to either retrofit them or just have the holes in the bumper because it looks cool, and then I can mesh them off or do whatever I need to do. All of the coolant pipes are at work. I haven't brought them back yet. They're soaking over the weekend in like anti-corrosion type fluid. Yeah, I can't remember what I said. Simon's also given me a GSI Mark II bonnet, so I can bin this one after I've taken the sound deadening and washer jets and stuff out of it. When I say plans are changing, when I first got the car I thought, oh well, I'll just chop that off, and knowing Simon was going to give me this one, drill out all the spot welds and then spot weld or plug weld that onto there, job done, nice and straight. However, it wasn't until I got this one that I realised there are deliberate backward bends on some of this from factory, and actually this is a lot straighter than I thought it was. Now, I haven't done any hammer and dolly work. All of that has just been achieved by pulling. There are a couple of areas like this where you've got fractures to the paint, and here again as well, and in that corner, but none of that is insurmountable. And if I'm gonna be putting the white one on, that's a lot of hours, a lot of cleaning, and it's gonna need painting anyway. So I'm going to continue straightening that one and see how good I can get it, and then I can hold this upside down on there and check for straightness, check for match and all the rest of it. I can swap the bonnet latch stabilizer bracket over to check for height. So I'm going to continue down that path at the moment, straightening that for two reasons. One is I could luck out and find that actually I don't even need to change it. Two, if I know that's straight, then I know the ends are in the right place, so when I do weld that one on, it's all going to fit nicely. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. Thought I would have a go at actually filming myself doing stuff. Don't know whether you'll be able to hear me or see me or what, but I'm giving it a go. So I'm just going to carry on stripping down the front. This bit is mildly interesting. I removed the damaged bumper carrier. Oh, incidentally, I've no idea how quickly this thing focuses. The iPhone's really good at that, but this probably isn't so good. But yeah, you can see how the chassis rail end is straight. This has been tweaked away from it rearward, and obviously needs to be brought forward. You can see a tiny crease there. What I'm going to do is deliberately leave the other one back on. Actually, that one's not bent at all, so that's okay. I might bolt this one back on again, and then I can tap that forward until it's touching and I know it's square. I might go and take the good known bumper support off the white front, put it on there, and then I can tap this all forward to meet it. Annoyingly, I've now disturbed where the camera is mounted on my strategically placed twigs. We'll try and get that back on somewhere level. Yeah, really need to get a tripod. One nice straight bumper support mount. Hopefully this still has some battery left. You can see how far that needs to come forward. So the reason I've put that back on is basically to act as a guide when I'm trying to move that. There ain't a lot of room to swing a hammer, and quite frankly I don't really want to swing the hammer because I'll just bruise the paint and make it look shit. So I'll try and pull that out by hand again if I can. Maybe get a rod through there and tug on it. Yeah, it's one of those suck it and see, trial and error type jobs, this. Gonna go find myself a hooky thing. Hooky thing. That's quite good. So that's come out straight-ish. That obviously needs to be tapped down ever so slightly, but remember this is quite a crude pressing, it's just stamped out, so that needs to go back in. Then I can work out how to get that out if I really care, that is. Remember, regardless of what I do with that bit, this bit and this bit are going to stay, because I don't want to have to drill out all of the swap welds across the whole of the front. So I'll go and get the white bit and then continue poking. Just doing a bit more comparing. That is all looking fairly okay. I've just tapped that so that looks broadly correct, and then I straighten that really to help me visualize what this is all doing. When I look on this, that to that should, you know, it's all still leaning back slightly. When you look at this donor panel, this is actually a fair way forward of the mounting plane of that. So really all of this still needs to come out, so I'll continue working on that. Bit more poking. We now have it looking a lot straighter. That is sitting prouder here. That is all much more perpendicular. When I yanked on that, it all came forward nicely. That is going to be a right pain to get out because it's a crease. I can't get my hooky thing on the back of it. And to be fair, it's probably just going to stay there. So I'm reasonably happy for the moment that that is where I want it. So I'm going to turn my attention to that side now. same process, but in the distant views to you. Back to the iPhone for this bit, because I'm not sure if the little GoPro battery is up to much now. Just bolted the undamaged what's it, bonnet latch stiffener, or you know, this thing basically, that one I'm wiggling, back onto the front. What's helpful is there's no up and down adjustability in that. It just has one M6 bolt at the bottom, which means that these will be a useful guide to working out whether this needs to go up or down. So I'm gonna bolt that on tight. Obviously you can move it backwards and forwards, but at least it'll give me some sort of guide in 3D space as to where that bit should be. Right, I have made the decision. I have decided that, quite frankly, to get that perfect again, I'd be pissing in the wind, because it is so flimsy and could be bent in so many ways, and it has so many distinct buckles in it. So that bit isn't right. Buckle through there, through that sticker. On the back where we have the square holes, buckle, further distortion, although yeah, this bit should basically be straight and it's not. So I could spend ages tapping that, thinking I've got it somewhere, close the bonnet or bolt that on, and it would be absolutely nowhere. So the first step is chop this one out, drill all the plug welds out of that, and get that ready to go on. Annoyingly, I'm going to have to take the wings off. I'm going to try and avoid taking them off completely, but I will at least have to undo the bottoms and push them out. So yeah, cue a montage of me doing stuff. Sorry for the view of my butt there. GoPro has died, so no more action videos for today, but that's the wing released along the top, and then you've got two, one in there, one on there, and lift up and the whole wing will come out, so I can get access to these spot welds here, which is very good because I don't need to take the whole wing off. So I'm going to do that the same on the other side, detach anything else I don't need, then I'll probably do two fairly agricultural cuts, one through there, same on the other side, and then start drilling out plug welds, spot welds, call them what you will. I've been a bit of a muppet and forgotten my spot weld drills and full complement of drill bits, so all I have is my battery drill and one 6.5mm drill. That's probably not going to stay sharp for a very long time, and with that in mind I thought I'd do the ones that need to be done neatly to get that off first before I bother doing anything with the car, because I'm gonna need plug weld holes. I'm not using, I mean, it doesn't matter if I use a spot weld drill or just a normal one. I'm gonna go straight through any spot weld, and then those will become my pilot holes for them plug welding. So there's actually quite a few, which is annoying. It would be nice if Rover had just done one or two. It would have made my job a lot easier. 2 on the front, 4 across the top, and then 1 on the back down there. There's also quite a few in and around here, and then obviously same again that side. So it's a boring process. I'm going to drill them out and then use something like an old paint scraper to just pop the panels apart. Well, that's the plan anyway. Well, that worked beautifully. I'm very smug. Yeah, so all that's detached, all nice round holes, nothing tore out, which is great. I bent that top flange back and down with the pliers just so I could get the paint scraper in there. It worked so well, in fact, I'm going to do that side now and attempt to film it, thereby showing off my greatness. this is where it all goes horribly wrong, because I don't actually have a centre punch. These should all be cleaned off and centre punched, pilot drilled, and then drilled out properly, but we'll do our best. There also seems to be a lot more welds on this side than the other side, which is annoying. Can't tell whether that is 1 or 2, so that will be a paint scraper moment. Also can't tell whether the GoPro is able to focus on that, but you can see done those ones. Got to do that one, and then annoyingly 2 really close together. That will be a bitch to weld because it will probably just want to burn out, so just have to overcome that when we get there. Okay, hammer time. Sometimes when you haven't quite hit the middle of the plug weld, if you continue to tap, this will just tear out. The knife will come through this way, so it's good to be able to get to it from loads of different angles. So I can come up from here this time. If not, just put the drill through and hold it sideways and try and nibble your way through the bit you've missed. I'm probably showing you stuff you'll know how to do anyway, but I figured I might as well do it all belts and braces. This really is tool abuse because that fucks your drill head bearings. It's still really hanging on in that corner, so I'm going to continue to ruin my drill and attempt to nibble that way and get rid of it. I say my drill, it actually works. Don't tell them. Victory. Oh, my back. Oh. I had some pliers somewhere. So now it's free all along there in the front, so I've got to do those 2 and the ones at the back. Ta-da! You're probably getting bored of me saying ta-da, but it's probably like mild Tourette's or something. There we go. One straight-ish slam panel. We can see how far off the original was. Doesn't actually look that bad now. Still, I'm going to feel a lot happier about that white one going on, and I'm sure I'll get a lot less shitty YouTube messages. So that's all good. Get the grinder out now, get this screen one off. It is a shame I don't have my spot weld drills, because it would have been nice to do it that way. I'm going to be making a lot more sparks than I otherwise would have been, but I'll cover the whole of the front of the car in sheets, try and stop any more damage. This is how I chop stuff off. I recognise it's not the probably approved way of doing it, but I actually prefer to use a cutting disc on edge to chop very carefully down into the spot welds. You can sand them as well, and you can actually see the metal change colour just before it goes down to that other layer. I find that if I use a spot weld drill bit, I end up going through the bottom panel anyway, so I might as well just chop it off from the top. Makes a lot more sparks and noise and mess, and it's loud and your neighbours hate you, but actually it's still my preferred method. That's an example of when the wobbly, tuggy, break the spot weldy thing works. If I can even find it. That one there was on the back of there, and I didn't want to have to lean in around the back to get it. Again, you can see that there's a little bit of material still left on the front, but all of that's solid. So whereas if I had used a plug weld drill, I probably would have fucked that up. So yeah, it just means that now I can dance over that with a grinding wheel or sanding wheel or something, and have nice surfaces to go back hold onto without having to spend ages very carefully filling in holes with the MIG welder. Every time you do that, it hangs off the bottom, and you end up with a horrible shape under there, and it's just another rust spot. So I'd much rather just never break that top surface. Right, that's all done. Same again there. Just before I chop it off, I thought I'd show you the extent of the damage I've found. See that slight buckle there? I think that's probably where the damage ended. So extremely lucky really, because that whole rail there, perfectly cock on, dead straight. Got that one off, just this little bit to do, and then I can do the final panel beating and start mocking up where the white bit's going to go. Are you still going? It's still going. Right, okay. All off. Front is done. Oing, 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 oing. So obviously a few bits of twisted metal to fix, but we can have our first play. Sorry, needed 2 hands for that bit. That's alright, isn't it? Cool. Right, so I will take a hammer and dolly to all of these bits that I've attacked earlier and make sure they're flush. Nip off the final bits of, like, I don't know, bits of metal left on. Panel beat these bits to meet that bit nicely. And then probably going to have a cup of tea. I've had my lunch break. Just come out with the sanding disc. Just cleaned up these bits, and I have also sanded back any of the sharper bits where the drill's gone through that panel or caused any distortion. So I'm going to do my hammer and dollying now. It's a bit reluctant to go on just here, and I thought, oh no, I've got a big problem here. Maybe this is more bent than I thought, but it's not. It's just that on this one, for some reason, that plate is interfering with that there. You can see it's actually clashing, so I'm just going to nip that off with a grinder because I know I'll still have enough room to pick up on this tab to weld it back on. Ordinarily you'd close the bonnet now and check the gap to the wings and all that sort of stuff, but I don't have a decent bonnet. I have got a bonnet Simon's lent me, but it doesn't have the bonnet bulge, so I don't know whether it'll fit. I think I'm going to fit it anyway because at least it'll show something. Yeah, so the wing back on, tucked over the top. All those will line up nicely. That I won't need to do any dressing. I'll be able to pick up enough to fill that in. That won't be a problem. They're good. All of that's good. Same over here. We're missing one there, so I might, oh no, there it is. I just need to bend that back, and that's all looking good. So yeah, happy with that. But while I had the grinder out, I just sanded that off. There's no kinks in that left, so whether that, I don't actually understand what's gone on there. I presume it got crushed down, and that's why oval, because I can't imagine anyone put an oval hole in a panel. I think I'm probably going to call it a day now because I haven't really got any of the other parts to do the rest. I want to fit the front bumper, fit the headlights. I've got the headlights, but what I don't have is the bumper itself, and I want everything on there, and the latch, and then the bonnet, to make sure that it's all in the right place before I get the welder out. So that can sit like that for the moment, and I'll go and have another cup of tea. I've just been looking at that there bonnet. The bonnet bulge for the 2 litres is here, but it doesn't quite, well, I guess it does kind of line up, but basically I'm thinking that non-bulge bonnet I've got will probably fit. So I'm going to go and grab that and put that on, and then just see what all of this alignment looks like with that bonnet. God, doesn't look so bad. Goes down low enough. I don't really care about bonnet gaps at the moment because obviously the wings aren't bolted up properly. What I'm really doing this for is to make sure that I can fit the bonnet latch on the underside of there and it's somewhere sensible. So I'll go and grab that now. There is actually a huge amount of adjustment on this. It can go up and down miles, so I could be well off with that scuttle and hopefully it'll be okay. So I'm just going to nip it up in the middle setting. Actually no, I'll put it as high as I can for the moment, in case something dumb happens like it won't release. So it's got the best chance of releasing like that at the moment. So I'll put it all the way up, nip it up, slam the bonnet and hope I get lucky. It also helps if you remember to connect the bonnet release cable. Put that aside, it's going swimmingly. Let's have a look. That sounded nice. Well, it's in the right place. And that is down. Right, now we just need to see if it releases. That wasn't. Oh wow, yeah, no, it has worked. Excellent. Right, good. Happy days. Result. Right, so all that's going to be not necessarily in the right place now, but if I can get it right, or I've got some confidence that I can get it right when I've actually put the car back together again. Right, so that definitely is the end of this video, because I'm quite cold now. It's not the nicest of days, it's quite damp and dank. I've also made a massive mess, which I better tidy up. But yeah, that's really, apart from welding, there ain't a great deal to do.